Welcome students of Form 3. We're talking about the structure of government, as you can see over there. And this is a part 3 of 3 videos about the executive, as it's also called. The structure of government, and in this video we are talking about the executive. In Dutch we say de uitvoerende macht. And the book also says the cabinet. Yeah? Another word for executive is cabinet. And if you're watching this video from abroad, outside of Curacao, this might be very helpful for you too. The cabinet with a dot here. So, learning outcomes. As already, if you're watching this from outside of Curacao, this could be helpful for you too, because I'm following closely the CSEC program from the CXC. And the goal of this video, at the end of this video, you have to be able to describe. So that's really important. You have to be able to describe the executive within the structure of government. So we have two others. We have the judiciary and we have legislature, but we're now talking about the executive. And we're talking about the role of the civil service. So let's look at the book. If you have the book, take it in front of you. I don't know the page by heart, what we're talking about. Paragraph 3, part 3 of chapter 3, and we've arrived at the right page of that paragraph. And we're talking about the role of the civil service. Each government ministry has a staff of civil servants who are responsible for implementing the government's policies. Implementing means putting them into practice. So the government has thought of all kinds of plans, has all kinds of ideas, and now is the time to implement them, to put them into reality, to put them into practice. They relate to each particular ministry and will maybe ask to advise the minister. So they implement them, but they also advise the minister when he needs to, or she needs to adapt his plans or his policies, or when something is not realistic or something changes on the island or in the world. The civil servants advise the minister in what to do, how to adapt, how to approach the topic, and so on. And each ministry is headed by a senior civil servant known as the, so each ministry is headed by a senior civil servant known as the senior secretary. So each ministry is headed by a senior civil servant known as the senior secretary. Well, this is a good pictogram or a symbol of the civil servants. Yeah, so the civil servants are studied people, educated people who work for the government and who work on implementation of the policies, who try to implement the policies into reality and advise the ministers when needed. And what are their duties of these civil servants? What do they do and what are they obliged to do actually? The permanent secretary and other senior civil servants are expected to use their knowledge and skills to 1. Yes, the permanent secretary and the senior civil servants are expected to use their knowledge and skills to advise the minister, like we said before, on the soundness of the ministry's policies. So, are they realistic? Are they really a solution for certain social issues? Are they being accepted by people in society and in the working field? Yeah, advise the minister on the soundness of the ministry's policies. 2, devise strategies for implementing policies. So the word implementing or implement, we've also talked about that. 3, to monitor and evaluate policies. If they put them into practice, they check how they are going, if they need to be adapted or not, or like steered by, and ensure efficient policy, again, implementation. So the word implement and implementation or implementing and all the variations on the word are really important for the civil servants, and especially the leader, the senior civil servant, to have a look at. and also advise is very important. So we've seen he or she advises the minister, the civil servant, he or she advises the minister, devises tactic or strategies for implementing policies, very important word, policies, monitor and evaluate policies, and ensure efficient and effective policy implementation. Again, this word is very important again. To implement, implementation, implementing, putting them into reality, putting them into practice. And this is what the civil servants do, assigned by the ministers and directed and led by the prime minister. Yeah. And this is all done by the civil servants. And they work for the civil service. So civil servants work for the civil service. They work for this larger organization. Standards. Civil servants are obligated, an obligation to carry out government policy objectively. So objectively is a very important word. They have to do it without having an opinion of their own, and they also have to do it without having any bias. So this means they should not have regard to their own opinions. They should not regard what they think by themselves or their own opinions. They should put them aside, as it were, or feelings about the government or its policies. But that they should carry out their duties without any bias in favor of or against any individuals or groups. So like you can see here in this pictogram, they are a civil servant. You see that over here. Of course, they have their own opinions and their own dislikes and likes, but at that moment, they should put that aside. They should not regard their own opinions or their own favorings or being pro or against anything. At that moment, they should put that aside, like you can see in this pictogram. The second one, you can see also here, of course, they have people that they dislike or like, or that they have a preference for women or men, but that would be bias, and at that moment, they have to put that aside. And also in the third picture, you can also see it, information that they have personally or thoughts that they have personally or their own thoughts about things at that moment that they have an assignment, a policy assignment, they really have to put that information and that way of thinking, they have to put that aside and they have to work objectively. So use information that they have objectively without any bias, have to carry out the government's policies with using unbiased and unopinionated personal opinions. You have to put them aside and work objectively without any bias. Key points. Which key point did we work at during this video? The civil service, like you can see here, is a group of non-elected, they're not elected, parliament members are elected, legislature is elected, and the major party in the legislature can appoint ministers, but they're civil servants and the civil service is not elected. Not elected means non-elected, very important, who are responsible for carrying out a government's policies. This is what they're responsible for without any bias and without being opinionated or carrying out their own opinions. They have to be objective. This is really important. They have to be objective while doing this. Really important, without any bias, and they have to be objective while carrying out the government's policies. Like you can see here in this pictogram. They are public servants, they have their own preferences or their own dislikes, but while being a public servant, they have to put these aside. I hope you found this video helpful, and again, if you watch this from outside of Curaçao, I also work with the CXC SIM system, and specific, the CSEC system, which also is used in the broader British-speaking Caribbean, in the broader Commonwealth, and we're working on describing executive of the structure within describe the executive within the broader structure of government. And for now, if I see you during class, enjoy your time off or your weekend or your few days off. And if it's just a weekday, I hope to see you tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Have a good day, good evening, or a good morning. Goodbye.